Okay guys, the point of this video is to quickly show you guys how to make basic plots in Mathematica. Here we're just going to focus on plotting functions. If you want to plot list of data, there's another way to do that. This is just for functions, which is what typically you're going to be doing in upper level classes. Okay, so let me delete that. If you just want to plot a basic function, you want to use the built-in function plot. I know it's built in because it's capitalized. I need square brackets around the inputs. Okay, in this case, I'm plotting the sine of x. Again, sine is another built-in function. X is the argument for sine. And this right here tells me the range that I want to plot the sine of x over. So it's saying, hey, x is what the variable I'm going to plot against, and I want you to plot from x equals 0 to x equals 4 pi. So I went ahead and hit Shift Return to run that. Here you can see you just get a basic plot over the range that I specified. So one easy way to change the look of this is to play around with these things down here. Maybe I want to add some grids like that. I can also add labels, okay? And notice when I do that, I'm actually getting the code for how to make those changes. Okay, that's one easy way to change what the plot looks like. If I want to save this plot, I can just right click on it and I can save the graphic to my computer and put it into a homework assignment or a presentation or something like that. Okay, if I want to plot more than one line, I have to tell plot to plot a list of functions, or this, let me make this as functions. Okay, so in this case, the lists are in curly brackets separated by a comma. So I've got two functions here in curly brackets separated by a comma. Again, this tells me the range, so I can go ahead and run that. It automatically gives two different line colors. Okay, again, I could go in and look at the syntax if I wanted to specify specific line colors for those particular functions. Okay, or maybe I want a dash line or something like that. But this is what the default is. And for most things like homework, the default is okay. There's one more thing actually I wanted to show you guys. I'm just going to delete this. One common error might be to forget that you haven't defined everything in the function that you're trying to plot. This is very simple. If you were in an E&M, you might be trying to plot a much longer function. It's okay that x isn't defined because that's what I'm plotting with respect to. But if I have another variable in this function here like a that isn't defined, and I know it's not defined because it's blue, that means it doesn't have a value associated with it. Mathematica doesn't know how to plot that function. Notice I don't get any error messages. I just don't get a plot, okay? So it doesn't say like, hey, a is not defined. I just get nothing. So if you get a result like this, you might want to go back, make sure that you've actually defined everything that you're plotting in your function except for what you're plotting with respect to, or that you don't have a bug or something like that, or a typo, which is leading to an undefined variable. Okay, so going back here, I told you guys you can use these buttons to easily change the look of your plot, but you can also go ahead and code in some of those changes. So for example, if you want to add a legend to your plot, here's one option. Okay, again, you have to use the exact capitalization here. So notice there's a comma, plot legends. This is all inside the square brackets by way of plot because this is an option for my plot built-in function. So P has to be capitalized here. L has to be capitalized in plot legends. I get this guy by doing dash and caret, okay, dash caret. And then this is a particular setting for plot legends. I can just say expressions. And notice when I run that, what it's doing is it's plotting the mathematical expressions that I told it to plot. Okay, that's a nice option. This is another pretty flexible option. I can just leave plot legends set to automatic. When I run that, it actually leaves two blanks here that I can type in. So, you know, I can type this as function 1 and function 2. Okay, and when I finish with that, it gives me, I just did shift return, by the way, it gives me another plot here that I can right click on and save. This is a nice line of code, a generic line of code that you guys can reference back to and change when you're trying to make a plot. that allows you to specify a lot of the things that you would want to specify in a basic plot for a class. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and run this. Okay, and notice again, this is plotting two functions that are specified in this list. They're plotted with respect to x, and that gives me the range. Here I'm specifying a plot label, okay, and it's called example plot. And notice I need all this syntax. I need the P to be capitalized. I need the L to be capitalized. This again is an arrow, but dash caret works. And then what I want it to be named needs to be in quotes. Okay, so I do have quotes here, and inside it's what the name that I want to title it. Frame going to true, okay, gives me this outside frame. I put that in there because I want to include axes labels or frame labels. Okay, so if the frame is true, I can include a frame label. Here it's a list of items, in this case 2, because it's a two-dimensional frame here. And the list is 2 strings or things that I'm putting in quotes here, which is what is being plotted in the units, okay? Last thing I specify here is label style. So this is talking about the style of this label, and it allows me to change the size of the font, which is important if you're making a presentation for something like in front of a classroom, right? Where you want to make sure everyone in the room can read the labels of your plot. So this again is a good line for you guys just to reference back later. If you're trying to make a plot for a homework assignment, you can just copy and paste it into your notebook and change what you need to change. That way you don't have to try to remember or look up all this syntax. There's lots of other types of plots, again, you can make in Mathematica. Sometimes it's nice to do a log plot where both of the axes are log scaled, or a log linear plot where just one of the axes is log scaled and the other one is linear. You can also use log plot. Okay, so lots of options here. These are all links if you want to click on them and look at the examples. Another one that I wanted to include some code for is plot 3D. Again, it's a lot like plot. The main difference is now we're plotting a three-dimensional function. Okay, so let's just see what that looks like. Okay, here, notice this is just one function. Okay, but this function depends on both the variables x and y. So I've got two axes here. One is x and one is y. Okay, and z here, or the vertical axis, is what you get when you evaluate this function at the different particular values of x and y. So here you can see what that function looks like. I can click and drag on this to examine it further. Okay, this plot range all, by the way, I like to specify that. That just makes sure that the plot range, which is here, I'm mostly worried about the vertical range here, is such that it doesn't cut off the top of this plot. But again, plot 3D is another thing that has a lot of different options if you're trying to make a nice looking plot. So I encourage you guys to look at the syntax if you need to use it.